Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished partners, colleagues and friends, let me speak plainly. The world does not need another speech about sustainability. It does not need another declaration, another summit photograph, another green logo, or another promise forgotten the moment the lights go off. Our planet is not suffering from a shortage of speeches. It is suffering from a shortage of courage, a shortage of leadership, a shortage of accountability. It is suffering from greed disguised as growth, indifference disguised as pragmatism, and denial disguised as debate. The climate crisis is no longer a warning. It is a reality. Yet, some still deny it. Some delay action. Some undermine international commitments. And others applaud global agreements and then turn home to business as usual. Communities, in the meantime, are flooded, forests burn, biodiversity declines, young people lose faith, and too many institutions still act as if the future were someone else's responsibility. This is the truth. And if we are serious about integrity, we must be willing to say it. Because integrity is not politeness. Integrity is not neutrality. Integrity is not the art of saying the right thing while avoiding the hard thing. Integrity is the courage to confront uncomfortable realities. And today, those realities are clear. They are clear when sustainability becomes a marketing exercise instead of a governance obligation. They are clear when organizations make green claims without evidence. They are clear when public money funds projects that leave behind debt, concrete, and broken promises. They are clear when investment is welcome without scrutiny of its origins, values, or impact. And they are clear, equally, when sport, with all its power, with all its might, all its reach, and all its influence, behaves as if it stands apart from this crisis. It does not. Sport is part of society. Sport is part of economy. Sport is part of the climate challenge. Sports builds infrastructure. Sports moves millions of people. It consumes resources. It attracts public funding. It shapes markets and influences behaviors. Sport, ladies and gentlemen, gives visibility and legitimacy to governments, companies, cities, institutions. So let us stop treating sustainability in sport as optional. It is not. It is not a communication issue. It is not an annual report exercise. It is not a side event for special days in June. It is a governance issue, an investment issue, a human rights issue, a public trust, if you wish, issue. But above all, a sport integrity issue. And that is why SIGA refuses to be neutral. We do not claim that sport alone can solve the climate crisis. We do not claim that SIGA alone can repair decades of environmental and social damage. But complexity, ladies and gentlemen, is not an excuse for inaction. And limitations are not an excuse for silence. SIGA can do what it was created to do. We can set standards, we can convince stakeholders, we can identify gaps, we can demand transparency, we can promote accountability, and we can connect sustainability with governance. That is why we launched SIGA Earth. This is why we elevated social and environmental sustainability as a core pillar of sport integrity. That is why we are establishing a permanent committee on social and environmental sustainability in sport. That is why we are developing universal standards on social and environmental sustainability in sport. And that is why, at the end of this month, on the 30th, we will convene the SIGA Earth Global Consultation Forum. From this European Union Green Week to SIGA Universal Standards for integrity-based sustainability in sport. And that is why, in November, during the Sport Integrity Action Month, we will take this agenda further, from consultation to implementation, and from principles to measurable action. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not symbolic. This is structural. Not another campaign, but a long-term process. Not another, it's not about making sport look greener, but governing it better. Because sustainability without integrity is theater. Climate action without accountability is theater. Social responsibility without human rights is theater. Investment without good due diligence is theater. And the world has had enough theater. SIGA is not here to highlight failures. We are here to provide a framework for credibility. We are not asking sports organizations to be perfect. We are asking them to be honest, to be measurable, to be accountable, to justify the trust, the confidence, and the passion that fans, governments, sponsors, and the whole world places on it. That is the purpose of the SIGA Universal Standards. And that is the purpose of the SIGA Independent Rating and Verification System, SIRVS. SIRVS is not an instrument to name and shame. It is not a punitive mechanism. It is a credibility mechanism, which is a big difference. SIRVS enables organizations to assess performance, identify gaps, demonstrate progress, and submit their commitments to independent scrutiny. And in a world of green claims, SIRVS offers the evidence, the ultimate test. In a world of mistrust, SIRVS offers verification. And in a world of fragmented commitments and forgotten promises, SIRVS offers a common benchmark. This is not only the right thing to do, it is the smart thing to do. Because the future of funding, sponsorship, hosting, insurance, public trust, regulatory confidence will increasingly belong to those who can prove their integrity and not merely proclaim it. The question is no longer whether sports organizations claims to be sustainable. The question is whether it is willing to be assessed. That is the dividing line. What sport needs now are universal standards. Standards that define credible sustainability in sport. Standards covering climate action, biodiversity, infrastructure, procurement, human rights, inclusion, community impact, but also responsible sponsorship, reporting, and independent verification. Standards ambitious enough to matter and practical enough to implement, strong enough to support genuine improvement, and clear enough to expose empty claims. Because greenwashing is not a communications problem. It is an integrity problem. It misleads the public, It distorts markets. It rewards appearances over action. And sport must not become a safe harbor for that. Sport must be a force for truth, a force for courage, a force for accountability. So today, during the European Union Green Week and ahead of the World Environment Day, SIGA is putting a clear proposition on the table. A clear proposition on the table. And this is it. Sport simply must move from awareness to investment, from investment to standards, from standards to accountability, and from sustainability to integrity. And we are asking every serious stakeholder to act. So if you are a federation, a league, a club, join the consultation, test the standards, and begin the pathway to independent assessment. Become a pilot organization and demonstrate leadership through accountability. And if you are a city or a public authority, align funding and hosting decisions with credible sustainability and integrity requirements. On the other hand, if you are a sponsor or investor, assume your responsibility. Demand accountability, not just expect visibility. If you are an international organization, help us to build coherence rather than duplication. If you are an athlete, use your voice. If you are a sport leader, lead. Because that is what we expect, that is what we need, and that is what the moment requires. The SIGA Earth Global Consultation Forum on 30th of June will launch this process. It will invite submissions, mobilize experts, identify pilot organizations, and prepare the green paper and build a roadmap towards universal standards. Today, our call is clear. We ask all stakeholders to confirm their participation on this forum, to be an agent of change, to walk the walk, to be consequent, and to lead by example. Because, let's be clear, the future will not ask whether we had good intentions. It will ask what we changed. Whether we saw the crisis and looked away, or whether we heard the science and ignored it. Whether we had power and used it or wasted it. Our answer, SIGA's answer, is clear. We will not be neutral. We will not confuse diplomacy with silence. We will not confuse gradualism with leadership. We will not allow sustainability in sport to be reduced to slogans and ceremonies. We choose standards over slogans, evidence over image, accountability over ambiguity, courage over comfort, and integrity over indifference. So to conclude, let this EU Green Week not be remembered as another week of speeches. Let this World Environment Day on the 5th of June not be remembered as another day of hashtags. Let this month mark the beginning of a new global standard for sport. From Green Week to global standards, from awareness to investment, from commitments to accountability, from sustainability to integrity. And let history record this. At a time when too many choose delay, SIGA choose action. At a time when too many choose neutrality, SIGA chose integrity. And what about you? What will be your choice? Thank you.